Welcome, everyone, to our English Learning Podcast. Today, we're diving into an important topic, how ideas about gender have changed over time, especially in the workplace. We'll follow a story, learn new words, and reflect on what equal rights mean today. As we go, try to think about your own experiences or opinions. Ready to get started?
Absolutely! This episode is packed with interesting facts, real studies, and vocabulary that will help you understand these issues in English. We'll also pause to explain words, so you'll get both knowledge and language skills. Let's begin with the story.
The modern push for equal rights happened at the same time as many women began to enter the workforce. But when they did, they found they weren't paid the same and faced challenges moving up in their jobs. In a way, women's liberation started as a class struggle. Now, let's explain that word.
Great idea. Liberation means the removal of traditional social or sexual rules. In this case, it's about women gaining freedom from old restrictions. So, women's liberation refers to women fighting for more choices and equal rights.
Exactly. In the 1960s and 1970s, leaders of the feminist movement compared their fight to the civil rights movement. Both were about fairness and equality for everyone.
And that's a good reminder. Social change often happens when people see connections between different struggles for rights. Speaking of connections, let's see how researchers studied these issues.
Social science researchers have looked at how gender roles impact the way power is shared in society. They found a lot of evidence that people treat men and women differently at work. For example, one famous study in the 1980s looked at the adjectives people used for men and women in over 25 languages.
Right. The study showed that men were more often described with words linked to management or leadership, while women were described differently. This suggests that our attitudes about gender can shape opportunities in the workplace.
That's a key point. Even something as simple as the words we use can influence who gets ahead at work. Now, let's look at a more recent study. A 2019 study found that a panel of academic physicists and biologists showed bias when judging job applicants. Do you know what a panel is in this context? Let's explain.
A panel is a group of people who answer questions or give opinions about something, often experts or judges. In the study, the panel looked at pairs of job applications with fake male and female names.
Although the applications were the same, physicists rated the female applicants lower and even suggested lower pay. Biologists, however, did not show this bias. That's interesting, isn't it?
It is! The lead researcher thinks this could be because there are more women in biology now, showing that having more diversity might reduce bias.
Of course, we have to be careful not to believe everything just because of one study. The fact that bias exists doesn't mean all differences are caused by bias. We need to separate assumptions from evidence.
Exactly. Some people think that all differences between men and women are learned through culture, called socialization. For example, people say girls play with dolls only because we teach them to. But is that always true?
Let's look at what scientists have found using animal studies, especially with primates. Now, let's explain that word.
Primate means any animal in the group that includes humans, apes, and monkeys. Scientists study primates to learn about natural behaviors that are not taught by humans.
In one study, young chimps played with sticks. The female chimps cradled the sticks like babies, while the males brandished them in pretend war games. Let's pause to explain these two verbs.
Sure. To cradle means to hold something gently in your arms or hands, like holding a baby. To brandish means to wave or swing something in an excited or even threatening way, like waving a stick.
Thanks for explaining. These natural behaviors suggest that some differences may be biological, not just learned, but what about in humans?
Good question. Let's explore how biology might play a role, especially when we look at hormones and brain structure.
Studies show that girls often choose games that use social and language skills, while boys prefer more physical activity. A 2020 review of 75 studies found this pattern, and it seems related to testosterone. Let's explain that word.
Testosterone is a hormone found naturally in men and male animals. It affects physical and even some behavioral traits, like energy and aggression.
Research also shows that men and women have different neural connections in the brain. Let's pause and discuss neural.
Neural refers to anything related to the brain or nervous system. So, neural connections are the ways different parts of the brain communicate.
Men usually have more neural connections within each half of the brain, which may help with motor skills and spatial organization. Let's explain those terms now.
Motor skills are abilities that involve controlling and moving your muscles, like writing or running. Spatial means relating to space and where things are in relation to each other.
On the other hand, women have more connections between the two halves of the brain, which may help with analysis and intuitive inference. Let's clarify intuitive.
Intuitive means knowing or understanding something without needing to think about it logically. It's like having a feeling that something is true.
Men tend to score higher on tests that involve mathematical reasoning and the rotation of objects in their mind, skills important in physics and engineering. Let's explain rotation.
Rotation is the act or process of turning something around a central point. For example, imagining how a box would look if you turn it in your head.
Meanwhile, women often do better on tasks that require noticing small details, which are useful in fields like publishing and design.
Importantly, these are only small group differences. Everyone is unique, and many skills can be learned by anyone. It's important not to judge individuals by group averages.
Researchers remind us that group differences are small and don't always apply to individuals. Different skills can solve the same problem, so we should judge people by their own abilities. How can we apply this idea today?
In modern workplaces, it's vital to look at each person's merit and not just rely on stereotypes. That way, everyone gets a fair chance and organizations benefit from diverse talents.
This story shows us how language, culture, and science all play a role in shaping our views. Now, let's recap our vocabulary for today. Time for a quick vocabulary review. Here are the words we learned, with example sentences.
Liberation. The new law brought liberation to many people who were once restricted.
Panel. The panel of judges decided who would win the contest.
Primate, gorillas, and humans are both primates.
Cradle. She cradled the puppy in her arms.
Brandish. He brandished his umbrella when the rain started.
Testosterone. Testosterone is a hormone mainly found in males.
Neural. Scientists study neural pathways in the brain.
Motor skills. Babies develop motor skills as they learn to walk.
Spatial. Architects need strong spatial awareness.
Intuitive. She had an intuitive sense that something was wrong.
Rotation. The Earth's rotation causes day and night.
Now it's your turn. Have you seen or experienced different expectations for men and women in school or work? How do you think we can make things fairer for everyone? Share your thoughts with us or discuss with a friend.
Thinking about real-life examples can help you connect new vocabulary to your experiences, making it easier to remember. We'd love to hear your opinions or stories.
Thanks so much for joining us today. Remember, learning English is a journey. Every new word or story brings you closer to your goals. Keep practicing, and don't be afraid to ask questions or try out your skills.
Stay curious, keep an open mind, and use English every day. Whether you read, listen, or speak, every little bit helps. Until next time, keep learning and have fun with English.
Here's a final tip. Try to use new vocabulary in sentences about your own life. The more you practice, the more natural English will feel. Remember, mistakes are part of learning. See you next time.
Goodbye, everyone. Keep practicing, stay motivated, and remember every day you practice, you're making progress. Take care.